favors. Half man, half amazing. Always blazing. Eyes chinky like an Asian. So faded. Damn Bazarian in my name.
And welcome to the Have Nots Big Brother podcast. Jason Carter along with Joe Frank, the Superman of superfans. The one and only Joseph Frank. Joe, how you doing, man?
I'm doing good, Jason. I'm ready to get into what a wonderful week it has been in the BB house.
Yeah, last week we left you off. We knew the plan was in place to backdoor Cody. Plan worked flawlessly. Has Paul won the power veto, took Josh off the block, and I think mainly he took Josh off the block because of his little spiel. And Paul's like, all right, all three of you guys, including Ramsey. Ramses. The name, sorry. Ramses.
Ramsey's the name of my dog.
He's like, you guys have to give me a reason. And Josh just went after Cody and Jessica. And I think Paul's like, that's cool. Cool, you can go off.
Also, throwing the trail off any alliance that Paul had already formed with Alex.
Yeah.
I think. Putting in the work to the other house guys said, I'm not working at all with Alex, even though we know now through yesterday's episode that they've been working in secret together now that Alex is in power.
Little secret stuff going on there between Paul and Alex. Very interesting episode yesterday, I thought. Of course, last year we saw this competition get used in the battle back. And now we just found out there will be a battle back this Friday. First to just kind of backtrack a little bit to Cody when he got evicted last Thursday. After the show, or after he was evicted, I was like, I really like Cody. And last week, I was talking about how I didn't like him.
Yeah, I think just the way he played the game was weird to people because you haven't seen a guy who literally will not talk. He shows no emotion, other than obviously when he's alone with Jessica. She can get a little bit out of him, but even she can't get that much out of him. That's just the way he's wired. He was a Marine, he doesn't play around a lot. He goes in the den of temptations like, yeah, there's a snake, I don't care. He's here for one reason only. He's here to win the game and win that money. And he's a competitor. I mean, that's the thing that I like about him. He's a competitor, and just because he doesn't show emotion doesn't mean he's not a human being and have emotion.
Yeah, after the show, he was talking, sitting down with Julie Chen, and they were talking, and he was actually showing emotion. He was smiling. He was laughing. He was like, what? I get another chance? And then he was kind of talking about, look, I screwed up my game. I kind of wanted to go this way. It sucks. I got caught. So it'd be interesting to see. I mean, I imagine if it's an endurance, anything physical, Cody's back in this Friday. But we just don't know what the comp has. We were saying, last night, the head of household competition was the one they used last year, that Victor got himself back into the game with the battle back, and also it was a head of household competition all in the same last year. But they used that contest last night, and the deals were made where between Elena and Alex to where, hey, you got to protect my people. But Elena was really asking for a lot.
She asked for she listed 6 names. She was like, I want Mark, I want Dominique, Paul, who's already safe, so you really don't have to list him at all. Matt, Raven, all these people. It's like, come on. You're going to list, a quarter of the house, really? I get you have allies, but you can't go in there demanding that much. And sure enough, one person she names ends up on the block.
Yeah, Dominique ends up on the block along with Jessica. I don't think Jessica's really the target this week. I think she's just up there because of her alliance with Cody, and she just didn't talk to anybody for the first 3 weeks that she was in the house.
Basically, Alex wants to flip the house, and in order to flip the house in the most efficient way, you need to have Jessica up there just to not throw anything off yet. Play it cool, play it sly, put Jessica up, but I hope she's talking to Jessica like, listen, I'm not gunning for you, because Jessica is alone. This is a number for Alex's side of the house to bring over. We saw Jason yesterday. He's like, you could not put her up, don't put her up, don't put her up. But, I mean, you kind of have to if you want to play the game the right way and get this done and start flipping the house and breaking up that alliance.
And speaking of flipping the house, Paul gets Kevin to vote for Ramses.
Yeah.
And that's like totally threw everything off because Kevin, of course, we saw yesterday, acts like, Ramses' dad
in
the house, which is a cool little aspect get thrown in. I watched a couple of the BB After Darks where these guys are getting along and he's teaching them jokes, teaching them how to play pool and stuff like that. So he tells Kevin, hey, you vote for Ramses, nobody's going to guess it. Mm-hmm. What they didn't guess, though, was that Christmas was going to actually vote for Ramses because her and Cody were going at it right before she left.
Yeah, the thing, I didn't see the Ramses vote from Kevin. I would have never guessed that Paul had asked him to do that. He's like, you know what, sure, I'll do whatever. Just no one's going to know. And Paul's like, no one will guess it. And even if they do, how easy is that to throw him off the trail by the way you act around him because you act like you're his father? And I don't know about Christmas, that vote, like, was she fully coherent? I mean, read out of surgery?
Yeah.
I mean, who knows what that's about? I don't know if she'll admit that to anybody, but frankly, with Christmas, now that speaking of her, why is she even still in the game? She has the broken foot, 10 broken bones in her foot, we found out yesterday. She's not going to get full mobility back. She can't compete for 6 weeks. So I don't understand why Big Brother's not just like, listen, thank you, but no thanks. You're really no value to us in the game. You can't win anything because you can't walk. So I don't understand why she's even left in the game. It seems like a waste of time at this point.
If I was Alex this week, I don't know what's going to happen in the veto. You got to get Christmas out of the house within the next couple of weeks because she's just going to float to the end.
Yeah.
And that's something you can't have. I mean, hey, valiant effort for Christmas. That's what you get for riding some Cowboys. It's
I feel
unfortunate.
for Jason. That sucks.
And what's so crazy, too, about Jason is he actually voted Christmas out that week. Like,
Yeah.
she was up on the block the week that he broke her foot. He votes her out,
Yeah.
and then she goes back, and, Mark is over there, Raven's over there. I can't remember who else was over there. I think Dominique was over there, kind of consoling Christmas when she came back in the house. And Jason's just there like, dang, that sucks. like he just didn't really
I think
go over
he
there and
feels
be
like,
hey, my bad.
I think he feels like, okay, I've done enough. I'm sure he apologized. I'm positive whether it was on the live feeds, not on the show, he had to apologize. It probably feels like, man, I did enough. And as she's talking at the table, everybody, once she gets back from surgery, he's over there. You could see he's holding tears back. He's like, wow, I feel terrible. Christmas obviously lets the tears go. But, I mean, come on. You got to get her out of the house. I think Big Brother should have just taken them out on their own.
Yeah, I think they should have been like, hey, thanks for trying. Don't worry. Next year, though, we'd love to have you back.
Although while she's there, Cody did a phenomenal job of planting the seed with her and Paul about Mark and Dominique. Even though it's not true, they believe it. And they think, yeah, this is sketchy. We got to go after Dominique and Mark, and you're seeing it this week because even Mark went up to Alex, asked if he was safe, and she said, if Elena says you're safe, then you're safe. And he didn't feel comfortable with that, and he shouldn't because he's a possible backdoor this week.
Yeah, Cody, of course, told Paul and Christmas both, hey, look, here's what happened when everything went. Paul, when I tried to put you up, Mark and Dominique, they knew. He told Christmas, hey, when I put you up, Mark and Dominique, they knew. And then Dominique, I guess she does a game show the night before the evictions.
And that's just a way for her to just get information out of people.
Yeah, so she's doing this game show. Well, Cody, hey, who knew that you were going to put, Paul or Christmas up? And Mark, I think if you're going to get another guest in the house, you would have to be like, all right, I don't think Cody actually said anything. Because Mark was like, when'd you say something? When'd you say? Like, Mark was trying to go back at it. And even Matt was in the background asking, hey, who did you tell? You didn't tell me.
But on the other side of that, if I'm in the house, the way I'd be thinking is, Mark looks awfully defensive right now. Awfully defensive, trying to throw the trail off of himself. Because obviously when Cody said that, you're thinking of 2, maybe 3 people that were in that alliance that were closest to Cody that he would have told about that. So I'd be thinking, okay, Mark's a little defensive right now. Maybe he did tell him. Maybe Cody did. Maybe he's telling the truth right now. Really good gameplay from Cody, because if he gets back in, when he gets back in, because I think Friday Cody's going to show up and he's going to dominate whatever competition it is. I assume it's going to be a physical comp, because that's how you really earn your way back in. I mean, mental, they were there for 2 weeks, so it's really not you guess what day this happened or anything like that. Those comps don't work. It's going to have to be physical. It could help his game. Paul might want to work with him now.
Oh, yeah, I was definitely thinking, if Cody does come back in the game, Paul and Cody need to work together. And Link will be like, all right, look, dude, you're the strongest competitor in this house. You're a strong competitor. But the only problem that's going to happen with Cody, though, how's he going to talk game with Paul?
Best of both
I want to
worlds.
see that happen. I want to see Cody actually come out, all right, look, Paul, we need to talk. Here's the deal. What can we do? But the problem is that we saw Cody doesn't talk game. He only goes in his little secluded area with Jessica the entire week. I mean, even on the live feeds, he was always just hanging out with Jessica, not getting involved in anything else. It was just Jessica this, Jessica that. It'd be funny, too, if Jessica did get voted out this week, because what does happen in the battle back? Does Cody, should I throw this?
There's no way
Should
he
I
throws
ride
it.
off in the sunset with Jessica, let Cameron take the charge?
Well, I think Cody knows that if Jessica somehow beats him in the battle back, she's not winning the game. The one that has the chance to win the game, win the money, is Cody, because he can beat anybody in the house in any competition. So I think he's gonna fight. It's gonna suck that he's gonna have to go up against Jessica if she leaves this week, but I don't think that stops him. I think he goes back in, and you know what? If he goes back in, lesson learned. Okay, this didn't work for me the first time, but guess what? I'm gonna put my trust in a couple of people, and I'm gonna talk game with them. Paul, best social game in the house, undisputed. Cody, I think, is the best competitor in the house, undisputed if he goes back. So then you have the best of both worlds right there competing together if they choose to. I think that's the best move for them to get to Final Two, because who can take both of them out in that house? I don't think anybody can.
Oh, yeah, I don't think anybody can either. I mean, right now, the way the alliance is set up, from what I understand, it's Mark, Elena, Matt, Raven, Dominique, and Paul. But Paul also has a good social game, so you have the floaters of Jason, Christmas, Alex,
Ramses,
Josh, and Kevin.
Yeah.
Which Paul, like people trust Paul. Like on that side of the house, Kevin trusts Paul. He voted for Ramses. Josh trusts Paul. He put himself up as a pawn last week. Christmas trusts Paul. Those two were always talking together, and now Alex and Paul are secretly like, hey, we gotta make sure this side of the house, outside of ourselves, hate each other, and this side of the house, they do the same.
Paul's playing both sides of the house. I mean, it's what you do if you want to win, because guess what? His alliance gets broken up. He's got a relationship with Alex. He's got a relationship with Kevin, with Josh, with Jason. So he can just go, you know what? I'm with you guys now. Let's ride. Let's take out this alliance, because, I mean, it's just the best way to play. And nobody in his alliance right now knows that he's talking with Alex, but he's talking game with Alex. He's really telling Alex how to facilitate the HOH, all that stuff. So it's the best play he can make, because no one is suspecting it right now. And even Dominique, when she went up to talk to Alex in the HOH room, she starts to allude to somebody. I thought she was taking that conversation a different route.
Yeah.
I thought she was going to put the seed in Alex's head that Paul is trying to manipulate everybody and he's trying to play both sides and all that stuff. But she went after Elena, and I was like, okay, I didn't see that coming. But because Dominique and Mark are such good friends, she thinks Elena's jealous, and that right there to Alex, red flag, Dominique, take a seat on the block.
Oh, yeah, I was definitely shocked. I thought that could have gone a few ways, definitely last night, because she was like, there's somebody who keeps talking. And then she's like, well, then somebody's jealous. I was like, oh, my gosh. I think right now, Paul's best game is to not let people know that he's manipulating and running this head of household. We saw it play out last year, drawing a blank on the name, long-haired dude who was the veteran and was playing the girl.
Frank?
Yeah, Frank was playing Bridget last year, the HOH, and people were like, people knew. They caught on, like, all right, we got to get Frank out, because Frank, he runs the house.
Yeah.
And Paul, and he's kind of playing this whole, I don't know, he's like Frank and Paulie at the same time. And it backfired on both of them last year. Frank got caught running the house. Paulie got caught trying to, Frank got caught trying to run somebody else's HOH. Paulie got caught just pretty much running the whole house.
And really what they do there is they let their emotions get the best of them. And they had fights with people, and it got kind of edgy. And you know what? If Paul stays away from some of that, which from what I've read on the internet and what I've seen on Twitter, we might see an altercation between Paul and a house guest coming up this week. If he could stay away from that kind of stuff, you might be able to do what Frank couldn't do, what Paulie couldn't do. So, and more of like what Derek did in a couple seasons ago. So, yeah, he's going to have to play it the right way, but thus far he's been playing it very, very well.
Yeah, definitely playing it very, very well. Now, Christmas coming back in the house kind of brings a little bit of intrigue here. How much blood is really getting on your hands if you put Christmas up on the block and you vote her out?
It's kind of like a sympathy vote, like a sympathy nomination. Like, listen, you can't win anything. You're really of no use to anybody here, because all you can do is sit on your crutches or lay down. You can't win a comp. I mean, if I'm a house guest, not HOH, and she gets put up and eliminated, I'm thinking, okay, that was a pity nomination, and we vote her out just to put her out of her misery, frankly, because she shouldn't be in the Big Brother house. She should be getting better and trying to work towards getting her mobility back in that foot, because arthritis is coming. We heard her say last night she broke a bunch of bones. She had a donor bone put into her foot.
Right.
She's got a lot of problems, and where you don't want to be is in a reality show in a Big Brother house, disconnected from the world, where you can't get a lot better.
Yeah, I mean, she needs to focus on her right now, get better, get some family over to her house, help her do her thing. I think it's definitely weird that she's allowed to stay in the house. I'm not like totally against it. I mean, if you want to play your game and that's like, hey, I'm going to play through this. But we heard of the producers and Julie Chen say, hey, if Christmas was in this competition, she couldn't play, so she couldn't win HOH.
Yeah.
She couldn't do this. And Big Brother, they've said, hey, we're not going to cater to Christmas's injury.
And they shouldn't. I mean, if you want to try and put her on that wall last night for HOH with 1 foot, go nuts. She's not going to win. She's going to be the first one off, and then she's going to have to fall down what looks like 10 feet into the mat or whatever they put at the ground there, and she's probably going to hurt her foot because guess what? You're not going to, I'll just land on like my neck so my foot doesn't get it. It's not how it works.
Right.
She can't win anything. It doesn't make a whole lot of sense to me why they let her come back into the game and make that decision on her own.
Yeah, I'm definitely not for Christmas being in the house. I think she needs to get better with herself. But that'd be weird, though. I wonder how the game would change, though, if Christmas did leave the house. We already saw Megan leave. Seeing Christmas leave, I mean, that's like 2 house guests you don't have to worry about evicting.
Right.
Right there. Does the show, like, did they end up dragging it out this season, or how would they even do that?
I think what they would do is just add another battle back later on. Normally they do a battle back really late in this, like almost before jury.
Victor won 2 last year, if I'm correct,
They
right?
did 2 last year. That was fine. I love it. But I think they're doing one early this year, partly because Megan left. So I think they would definitely have to add something like that just to make the game more interesting if you lose a second house guest in that fashion.
And Megan will not be in the battle back contest because she took herself out.
She doesn't deserve to be there.
Definitely. Cameron, who lasted all of, 12 hours in the BB house.
That sucks, man.
He will be coming back.
You think we can find Cam? You think they let him go home, or
I don't think they did.
Because I was gonna say, you think we can find Cameron and get him on for an interview before he goes into the house? He lives very close.
Yeah, North Aurora. That's about 20 minutes away from us.
Yeah.
I don't think they let him go back home. They were probably, in the jury house, I would assume?
Yeah, they probably
hanging
put him
out.
there, yeah.
And then Jillian.
No threat.
She's not really a threat, but they thought she wasn't enough of a threat 2 weeks ago. So who knows? Maybe she can weasel her way back in there.
That was more to spite Cody. So, evict Jillian, keep Christmas, spite Cody. Cody's going to lose his mind, and then we'll deal with him.
Oh, it'll be interesting to see what they do with her. But anyways, coming up this week, you got Jessica, Dominique on the block. What's the best case scenario for either one?
Best for the nominees?
Best case scenario for Jessica. What is it?
Jessica wins veto, pulls herself down. I don't think she's the target, but you always want to keep yourself safe. Best case for Dominique is that somebody gets put up next to her who's a bigger target, because at this point, Alex wants you gone, Dominique, so she's going to do everything she can to get you out. I think the only way somebody wins the veto, they pull down Jessica, they put up a guy like Mark. That's a way that Dominique can stay, because Mark's obviously a huge physical threat if he ever gets that finger healed. But yeah, best case scenario for Dominique would have a bigger target, and then obviously Jessica, pull yourself off, because you can't trust these people.
See, I'm not sold on Mark. I'm with Paul. Paul, they were talking about yesterday with Alex.
I heard him say that.
And he goes, you know what, look, he's not that smart. He's a big guy, but he's really not, that great at physical stuff. He just doesn't have it in him. He went off the wall pretty quick.
But he does have the broken finger. That has to play into it. And he's so big. Those comps are made for smaller. That's why you see the girls like James. You remember James?
Yeah.
James was the best at staying on the wall on those competitions, angles, whatever. He would just get low.
And he did what Jason kind of started it last night to kind of do the James method.
Yeah.
Of getting in there with Jason. He's too tall.
Yeah.
He couldn't really get it to work out.
And Alex started to do it right after Jason. And Jason's got the bull rider grip. He said, "I got that bull rider grip. I'm going to be good at this." But those girls, they're lighter. It's not really a whole strength thing. It's positioning and how much weight are you holding up right now. Mark's got an awful lot of weight. Same with Josh, who went off first after 21 minutes. That's a lot to hold up there on the angle, and of course with Mark, the finger problem. So
how awesome was it seeing Elena in a wet t-shirt last night?
I knew you were going to say that. That's your girl. That's the Texas radio personality. Yeah, I was wondering, I wonder if they told them, hey, make sure you guys are dressed properly for this, because wet t-shirts are going to be a thing.
Yeah, don't go braless over there. That white spaghetti strap. Yeah, for me, I think, with Jessica, first off, if she obviously wins her own veto, she's going to take herself off. In the house, who can she really trust? I think Jason is a guy she can trust.
Yeah.
And that's about it. I'm not too sure. I don't think Josh takes her off. Actually, I know Josh doesn't take her off. I don't think the other side of the house is going to take her off, because they're working with Dominique. Kevin, Ramses, I don't know if they have that connection, really, with Jessica. That she's kind of built up. So I think that would be, if they won the power veto, that'd be more of Paul saying, hey, take so-and-so off. For them, I don't think they're really sold either way. And then for Dominique, obviously, she wins, takes herself off. Or you have the alliance of Matt, Raven, Mark, and Elena. It'll be interesting to see what kind of comes from the on the block meeting right there, because you heard Alex say, we talked, and privately, I didn't like what you said. Does more come from that? Does Elena hang on, wait a minute, what'd she say to you that didn't keep her safe? And if Alex is well, she's throwing shade your way.
Alex is going to tell her if she asks.
Oh, yeah.
100%. For me, this is how I think this is going to go. Now, call me, a conspiracy theorist or whatever, but I think if Alex or Jessica win that veto, I think Alex would take Jessica off. She'll put up somebody from the other side of the house, obviously, so that either way, no matter where the votes go, somebody on the opposite side of the house from her is going home. That's Thursday. Cody wins the battle back on Friday. Cody comes back in. Jessica now trusts Alex, Jason, and that side. She's with them. She brings Cody in. All of a sudden, you got a strong, very strong competitor in Cody with Jessica and Alex and Jason. Paul flips because Paul's got the relationship. So Paul flips. Now you got the two best players in the house on one side with Alex, who's the strongest female, without question. Now that Christmas has the foot problem. So all of a sudden, the strong alliance is full of what was the floaters.
And Cody, he even said, hey, Paul is the only other alpha in this house.
Yeah.
That's why I respect his decision. Like, I made the shot at him last week. He took the shot at me this week. I wouldn't expect anything else. Like, he's trying to win the game. I was trying to win the game.
Yeah.
I had to make big moves. He's like, I kind of got short in the stick because I had to put up 800 people in my week. So, I didn't feel a connection. But as a game, as a player, I felt the connection with Paul. And if he does come back, I definitely see Cody and Paul could be a potential working together. Like we mentioned last year, he didn't always bring up last year. But remember when Victor came back in the house? Paulie did not want Victor in the house.
Right.
When Victor came back, though, it was a couple of weeks after the fact. But Paul went up to Victor and said, hey, it's not like how it was. Trust me and Paulie.
Right, yeah, I think we could see a scenario like that again. Respect will go further in this house between Paul and Cody than any bad blood or anything that's happened in the past. I mean, there really isn't bad blood between them. They said there, respect, man, respect. I really appreciate that.
And Cody even came up to him. Paul said, hey, thanks for not getting hot. And Cody's like,
Yeah.
dude, what am I going to do, man?
Yeah.
Like, you put me up. Hey, I expected it.
I took the first shot I missed. This is fully expected. All the respect to you. So they understand. And you know what, Paul? If he sees Cody walk back to that door, he's going to go, okay, now it's time to get close with Cody because we can dominate this house. And then, of course, they're going to have people like Alex. Alex proving she can win comps. I mean, she's a strong competitor. So that's a very good asset. Jason, they've already got Kevin because of Paul. I mean, I think it's totally going to flip a 360 or a 180, however those degree flips work. It's going to flip, and come next week, we're going to be talking about how that side of the house is in power, and they're going to dominate and pick them off one by one by one.
Yeah, I definitely feel like, Cody will come back, but getting a little bit back to, other scenarios for Dominique, since you kind of cut me off there, we kind of went off track.
Sorry, I really wanted to get that out there.
I didn't know how that even happened.
I just had it in my head. I needed to say it.
So if Mark wins the power veto, I'm assuming Alex has told Elena, hey, here's what old girl said about you. Mark wins, POV. Does he pull Dominique down or no?
Nope, because that would risk Elena going up.
I don't think Elena would go up, though.
It risks somebody else from his alliance going up because she's not going to.
Right.
It doesn't matter if it's Elena. Somebody's going to go up. So I think he'd be all right once that Alex communicates, hey, listen, Dominique said this about Elena. Mark's going to go, okay, you know what? Elena more important to me than Dominique. Sorry, Dominique, not using the veto. And then the votes go where the votes go.
I don't know. Mark, he just kind of... I don't know, him and Josh, they're just two, meat heads.
I hate Josh.
And I just don't, Josh, he just cries all the time.
It's like
Mark,
Josh.
He cries too. He cried when Christmas was talking about her injury. Last night he was all in tears about it. I don't know, what's up with these grown men crying?
It's like Josh has 10 generic phrases he says to everybody in situations, like, you're such a good person, or you're a meatball.
Oh, yeah.
He just uses the same words to everybody. It's annoying. You cry too much. I don't understand. So much testosterone pumped through Mark. That dude's jacked, and he's just sitting there crying. It doesn't make a whole lot of sense to me.
That was when you sell hair care products to women.
And
how about Raven? She has a pacemaker in her stomach.
Yeah, seriously. I wanted to get into that. She's gonna die at some. There's no cure for that.
Yeah.
That is scary. And I was just watching what she would do if she won the 500K. She said, I'd freeze my eggs. I can't have kids of my own, but I want somebody to carry on my legacy. And I was like, wow.
That is
really
crazy
deep
stuff there out of Raven.
So she said last night, I'm at setting 9 out of 15. Once I get to 15, I know that it's going to be over for me. And it's like, whoa, that is
definitely crazy. You got to feel bad for her. It's like, what? And back to that, she was talking about it, and then you heard, Josh use his old saying, oh, you're such a good person.
Yeah, you're so strong, yeah.
So we're watching last night, my wife, instantly like, I don't need to know this. I hate this. And like, she didn't like, when the Christmas came back. And my wife's just one of those people like, look, babe, this builds you an emotional connection to these people. She's like, I don't need that. I want to see Cutthroat, Big Brother. Like, I'm like, oh my gosh, like just get an emotional attachment to somebody.
Yeah, I mean, you'll get to the Cutthroat that'll come whether they have an emotional connection or not. But it was something I was shocked when they were doing it. I was like, oh my goodness. I can't imagine going through something like that. And so, very brave, very brave to tell the story, especially when you know it's going to be on national TV.
Yeah, and your time is coming. So, I mean, maybe Matt, stay away just a bit, huh?
Yeah. I mean, he said he doesn't even want to win the game, so maybe they should just get rid of him now.
Right. Well, he wants to get in the jury house. So that's another interesting thing I wanted to bring up. Obviously, Elena's like, hey, keep the showmances safe and keep Dominique safe, which is kind of weird how, like, Dominique, who is the one who's, like, kind of all up on her man, Mark, that she would want to keep safe. Because I thought instantly, like, wow, that's kind of the whole, Dominique Mark little.
So you think it's weird too?
It was kind of weird. I thought it was weird off the get-go.
So Elena has something in common with you.
Yeah, I thought it was definitely weird. Like, what's that connection right there? But also, that's weird this year as compared to past years. The showmances are all friends.
Yeah.
Before the whole Cody and Jess blow up, those three relationships were all a thing where they're all friends. It used to be like, we're our showmans, screw that showmans. We're our showmans, screw that showmans.
Yeah, and the showmances, I think, another thing that's different this year is they formed in 2 days, what seemed like 2 days. Like, we had the first episode, we get to the second episode, there's 3 couples in the house. I was like, hang on a second, time out. What is going on? So that's just, the showmances this year have been strange, and they're working together. It's not going to last. There's no way.
Yeah, we already saw one of the showmances get voted out. Elena, her and Mark, they're another showmance, making some moves and making some alliances with one of the floaters. So, maybe that hurts Matt and Raven's game down the long run. I don't know. You don't know. We'll find out, though, Wednesday night on CBS. And, of course, thank you for watching. I'm Jason Carter. Make sure you follow me on Twitter at JasonCarter03. You can follow Joe
at Joe_Frank, FRANC01.
And make sure you share the Have Nots Big Brother podcast with all your friends, all your BB friends, your family members, what have you. For Joe, Frank, Jason Carter, peace out. No spoilers.
Been turned up for like a week straight. This shit suck dick, she need a knee brace. This she wanna fuck me, it's some these